So for days, I've been posting all these videos about Fukushima because, um, as I tried to make people aware a couple years ago when this thing first went up, there was probably a handful of us out here who kept eyeballing the situation. I stood back because I felt like at one point there was enough people out here telling folks, and then I realized it's fruitless. We're all being decompartmentalized away from one another, right? Facebook is doing it, YouTube is doing it. That's why they keep changing the format in YouTube. It's difficult at best to stay attached or subscribed to people lately. True Ray and I know this. We subscribe and then we're unsubscribed, and then we subscribe again to each other and then we're unsubscribed. And so it's being done on purpose. It's nothing that her or I are actually doing, right? YouTube is doing this. They are separating us. And you say whatever you want to. My own government has chosen to ignore several things. That's just the nuclear plants. Let's not even talk about what's happening in the space. And I made the comment a couple months ago how it felt like the planet was rising to meet the sun as opposed to the sun rising to meet the planet. And the reason why it's changed, and we've talked before, I've said something before about it changing its shape and its color. And, God. Well, from the kid with one foot on a bar of soap and the other one in a grave, bending over and kissing your ass goodbye would be an appropriate thought, but at the end of the day, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say. I'm actually at a loss for words. I have been suspicious of the lack of real chatter about ISIN for some time. Comet ISIN. Comet C 2112, 2012, 2012. Yes, Comet ISIN. And how its name keeps changing. It keeps showing up, and different people call it different things. I've heard it called 3 different names at this point. I've heard it called Planet X. I've heard it called Planet Nibiru. I've heard it called Comet C 2012 ISIN. I call it Planet of the Red Death. And that's based on symbology and stuff that I looked at when I went back to check on the history of something else, and it attracted my attention. And I was like, wow. And then I was listening to somebody about a week, 10 days ago, and he made the commentary that he felt like when Comet ISIN comes out from behind the sun, which will be shortly, that it was going to have the capacity to pelt 2 sides of the planet at the same time with coma material from the comet itself. But it's the push and pull of the moon that is concerning me the most, in the uptick in earthquakes and chatter around the fucking planet. I mean, I'm not talking about just on the West Coast. And I got into this discussion yesterday with these people over this nuclear radiation, and they're like, oh, so Seattle got to spend, you know, a short amount of time doing what Denver does all the time. Well, I mean, that's just kind of like, so if you minimalize what's happening to other people, all of a sudden that makes it fucking better? when it's the same kind of fucking damage and routine, you know, garbage that's going on, and it shouldn't be routine, but we are so lied to about by the energy industry about what's actually happening with these nuclear plants. Now, there's 102 of them around the planet. 43 of these all have the same floor plan that the one at Fukushima Daiichi has, and 3 of 4 of those have gone China syndrome. And I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm gonna put it out there like that, because this is exactly what the fuck happened. Right? These cores were exposed too long to the fucking air without water. You know, the fucking water under the containment pools and the water mixing into the Pacific Ocean. So this has been going on for better than 2 years now. And I made contact with the State Department trying to help people get out of the area. But, you know, like the one person, he's like, well, I'm a rebel, da-da-da-da-da, they'll arrest me. I don't know, would I prefer to be arrested and further away from this disaster, or does it really matter where I go on the planet? Because we're going to get pelted with some serious shit. There's no doubt in my mind anymore. The pull on the moon, on the water on this planet, it's why I kept telling you, I don't give a fuck about global warming. I was more concerned about long underwear. How's that for a predictive statement? And I've been saying that since the day I came out here. Fuck your global warming. Every time I think about it, I think about long underwear. I really do. Don't feel anything. Don't be attached to your emotions. Really? Because I'm thinking since the double rainbow. I know that most of this is going to be okay, but it's not going to be okay for everybody. They're claiming that the plates in the Atlantic Ocean have subducted and submerged. So they're doing this. Okay? This is why everybody that's at a low-lying level, you know, water level and shit needs to get to fucking high ground. You need to get to the highest ground that you fucking can. And that's just where I'm at with that. But, I mean, you should have figured that out when Hurricane Sandy whipped through there. I mean, that was your indicator of how far in the damage can and will come. They're lying to us. Oh my God, they are so fucking... But, I mean, I can't expect anything different out of my government. It is just, after all, made up of human beings who live in fear. And see, so I never tried to do the fear factor thing, right? Let's just smooth along, people. But I've also talked about these CMEs hitting the planet, too. And it's only going to take one really good, healthy one. And we'll be without a grid for at least a minimum of 3 years. And it's all because the energy... You know, people, they've lied to us for so long and got us dependent on oil and nuclear energy and da-da-da-da-da, and dissuading us away from, you know, building an infrastructure that would have supported solar, which we are going to need. There's no doubt in my mind. The fucking electrical grid in this country, it looks like a fucking patchwork quilt, especially when you get into the schematics of these. Anyway, yeah. I would say for anybody on either side, to get the fuck off the ocean side. And I think I would be migrating out of California if I were like any kind of a thinking human being. And see, so where I'm at is I'm smack in the middle between the Rainier Fault and the San Andreas that comes up the coast and it goes all the way to fucking Alaska, homies. Oh, yeah.
I'll go get some chicken wings.
Are you really?
Yeah, I got a good deal on.
Okay.
We got french fries. I got some in there too. Did you pick some up?
I bought tater tots.
I don't care whatever. Yeah.
Potatoes, right?
The oil in the fryer.
Plus 20 pounds of potatoes.
It's good to go.
Okay. Chicken wings for breakfast. Everybody's days and nights are flipped around. Some people are feeling groovy and shit. I personally, the excited numb stage is where I'm at with all this stuff. And I didn't come out here to try and scare the living shit out of anybody. I mean, I'm just knowing that there are things that we are just simply not being fucking told about. And things that are not being brought to the forefront. So while we sit here and kibitz about schools and taxes and shutting down the government and all this other shit, you know, we have big trouble going on, right? We have serious issues happening. And so, and somebody just asked me the other day, and I just popped off with, well, between August 10th and 13th, that was my guesstimation of when some of this shit was going to start. I can't provide any proof for that. At this point, I would have to say it's a wait and see. It's just, I don't know what to say about that part. It was just an instinct. And it's not one of these things where it's going to happen and it's going to be just one event. I mean, the uptick in earthquakes is severe enough to the point where they're predicting some of these earthquakes are going to be above 10 point. Like seriously above 10 point, because of the pull of the moon on the planet. And the moon is totally in charge of every bit of water on the planet. Please believe that. That's not a fantasy. It's not a fallacy. I'm not a flat fucking earther over here, okay? Can't trust NASA. Can't trust JPL. What do you expect from private corporations? I mean, really? They have no fucking advantage in truth in anything to you. And some of this, I don't know. I don't know why they keep changing the name of this thing, but this whole concept behind shutting down all the conversation about Comet Ison in the first place was not my first ding ding ding, this doesn't make sense. It came after I listened to Dr. Oh gosh, I can't think of his name. But he said there was going to be a major event come January 2014. And so I was listening to him, and I was trying to find more of his stuff, and I wish I could really remember his name. I should have written it down. But it's in my history, in my YouTube history, and I share everything on my YouTube. I don't leave anything blocked or shut off, or you can't make a comment, or you can't do this, or you can't do that. I don't do that with my YouTube channel, because I felt like it was like, if I'm out here and I'm testifying, which is what this is testimony, then it should be accessible, right? I'm not one of these with 10,000 subscribers, so I don't have to worry about hate mail and all that other shit. I would never be able to keep up with that any fucking way. Arg. I'm just telling you that there are some things to be aware of, and it's all this effort and the prepping that the elite have done. So that they can be buried underground while this is all happening and shit, right? You got some people out here telling others to get a backhoe and dig a hole and put your trailer in there, and I'm just like, nah, fuck it. I'd rather go out in a brilliant flash of fucking light. Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do anyway? Because then you're going to have all this ultraviolet rays on the planet, the A, B, and C. And I don't know why people don't ever fucking talk about those, but they're, you know, or the gamma rays, right? We don't talk about that stuff. We don't elucidate or communicate about the things that are really possibly, potentially capable of doing some serious damage. That coupled with the microwaves, I mean, I'm just... fucking more fuck. So when people want to roll up on me and tell me I got a week to do this, and you're going to intimate a threat to me, it's like, I mean, again, I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of death. Been there, done that and shit. You know what I'm saying? So calm the fuck down. The party is not over yet. It's not over yet. But you do need to wake the fuck up and start paying attention to some of the things that are said. Skip the levels of paranoia that come from some of these people because they get over emotionally ingrained in their shit, and then they want to wrap it around their Bibles and all their predictory shit, and really at the end of the day I don't see how helpful that is, other than to walk around and go, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. And how does that fucking help? It doesn't help. It doesn't help. And for all I know, my putting together of what I have, of everything I've looked at, especially in the last week or so, extricating myself from the fucking fight between Dutch sense and suspicious observers, right? I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Or I could be 100% on the fucking money. I listen to the planet. And this uptick in earthquake activity. Yeah. Anyhow. I'm gonna go get me some fruit because I don't really want to eat chicken wings and french fries for breakfast. Chicken and wing this, damn it. Peace, prep, love, take care. So for days, I've been posting all these videos about Fukushima because, as I tried to make people aware a couple years ago when this thing first went up, there was probably a handful of us out here who kept eyeballing the situation. I stood back because I felt like at one point there was enough people out here telling folks, and then I realized it's fruitless. We're all being decompartmentalized away from one another, right? And you say whatever you want to. My own government has chosen to ignore several things. That's just the nuclear plants. Let's not even talk about what's happening in the space. And I made the comment a couple months ago how it felt like the planet was rising to meet the sun as opposed to the sun rising to meet the planet. And the reason why it's changed, and we've talked before, I've said something before about it changing its shape and its color. And, God. Well, from the kid with one. Facebook is doing it, YouTube is doing it. That's why they keep changing the format in YouTube. It's difficult at best to stay attached or subscribed to people lately. True Ray and I know this. We subscribe and then we're unsubscribed, and then we subscribe again to each other and then we're unsubscribed. And so it's being done on purpose. It's nothing that her or I are actually doing, right? YouTube is doing this. They are separating us. And they're foot on a bar of soap and the other one in a grave. Bending over and kissing your ass goodbye would be an appropriate thought, but at the end of the day, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say. I'm actually at a loss for words.